Welcome to the Inside Silverstone podcast, a business-focused podcast covering all things tech, engineering and innovation. Hosted by me, Chris Broome, a huge tech, motorsport and gaming fan, and also the owner of Longhurst, a firm of lifestyle financial planners and independent financial advisors located in Silverstone, Northamptonshire. This is a series of unscripted and unpolished conversations with leading business owners, thought leaders and high-tech talent where we discuss their experiences within the Silverstone business and motorsport region. We will also be asking them to share their knowledge, insight and their thoughts on the future just for you. If you're looking to learn more about the Silverstone high growth region and commercially connect with like-minded peers, you've definitely come to the right place. Welcome to Inside Silverstone. Welcome to the next edition of Inside Silverstone. My name is Chris Broome and I'm your host. Today I am delighted to welcome to the show two fine gentlemen from Digital Northampton. I have one David Bevan and one Richard Beards. Welcome to the show, guys.
Afternoon.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming on and making a trip all the way from Northampton town centre to Silverstone Park. 10-minute drive, 20-minute drive or so. As is customary, guys, as I explain at the beginning of every show, it'd be really cool if I can just quickly run through a quick career background, what you're sort of doing now, and especially what's happening at Digital Northampton, so that our wonderful dear listeners understand why we've asked you to come on. So is that okay if I quickly just run through that?
Yep.
Go for it.
Right, so career background. So I'm actually going to start with Richard, because Richard's a little bit quicker, which we sort of joke and laugh about. But the reason for that, positively, is that you've been at the Northamptonshire County Council pretty much for most of your career.
Yep. I finished Northampton University and went and worked in a theme park in America for a summer.
Okay, how was that?
Brilliant. That was amazing. That was 3 months in Delaware. How we didn't get arrested or deported, I don't know.
So how did you get that gig?
They did something called BUNAC at the college, at the uni. Okay. So you could do, we applied first to be swimming instructors or lifeguards in New York, but we couldn't really swim past 50 metres, me and my mate, so we didn't get that one.
Okay.
And then this one popped up. So it was a small family amusement park right by the sea, and it looked fantastic. So we went over there, 3 months, nice sun, sea, working at a family park there, and it was, great fun.
And this was via the University of Northamptonshire?
Yep. Yeah, they put a list together of all the places you can go and work, and we picked that one. Well, they were the only ones who would have us.
And do you think that's helped enhance your career, as in learning and...
Well, my brother...
He still references it all the time.
I do tell a lot of stories. My brother sent me a letter when I was over there to say, make sure you enjoy it, because when you come back, you've got 40 years of work. And I started therapy after that, because that was the most depressing thing I've ever seen. And
so, lifer, as I would call it, at Northampton County Council, and your present role and current role is digital manager?
Yep. I didn't have a career plan or path really set at all. I started in the council just in basic IT, and then I was planning on doing football coaching. I'd done my coaching badges, and I was going to go back to America actually and do some coaching. And then they set up this web and digital team. So this is like 2002, and then because I'd had a training course that included the word web, I was the man to go and lead this team. That was the shortlisting criteria. And then started there, and 15 years later, still doing it. So it's been almost like self-employed, really. We've had our freedom to build the team, look after it, and it's been a passion, really. It's not really been like a job at all. So although the council's had its issues, we've had a fantastic time building, developing the website, building the team, refreshing the team, myself and David. Pretty much had a free hand to do that, and we've learnt loads on the way and hopefully really developed the site. Probably when it started, we had 5,000-10,000 people a month use the website, and now we get 250,000 people a month use it. So transactions are massive, and we've turned it into what it is. So
and this is the County Council's website? County
Council, yeah. So no, it's been really enjoyable.
David, so your career is a little bit different, but similarly, sort of 06 to present Northampton County Council, where you're also digital content manager. But earlier career, worked at Waterstones as a bookseller, and then actually continuing the sort of book theme in 2016, because you are quite clearly an avid Leicester City fan, you then authored and wrote a book called what?
The Unbelievables, subtitled The Remarkable Rise of Leicester City. So, the famous title-winning season, I went to every game, home and away, and at the start of the season, I decided I was going to start writing about each game that I went to. by sort of February time, I looked at it and I thought, this could be an actual story, this could be a book, this could be something people are actually interested in. Approached publishers, long discussions, signed a contract at the start of April. So then for the last 6 weeks of the season, I guess it was, the nerves were dual, because not only had I signed this contract and this book would be written, but we didn't know if we were actually going to go and win the league or not. And then had to essentially write around 50,000 words in 3 or 4 weeks to bring it up to scratch, and it was published June 2016.
There we are, and presumably still earning a few shillings a month of royalties off Amazon, or
No. He's very bitter about that. I'm the only one who's bought it.
presumably it's been purchased though.
It's been purchased.
Yeah, your mum's got a copy. And
whoever wants to buy it, it's still available. There are a few copies left on Amazon.
It is a fantastic book, but he was very bitter that a lot of other people wrote books at the same time.
Okay,
who had better names.
Yeah, it was one of those where it was a hot topic at the time, I guess.
Sure.
But really, really enjoyable experience.
Great exercise, writing about something you're passionate about, and clearly a football team you support, and so as we've established, Richard's a Tottenham fan, so potentially a long way from winning the league, whereas I'm a Liverpool fan, and perhaps this could be our season, but we're not going to jinx that. So let's move on. Let's move on from football, because I'm getting the sort of death glare. So Richard, one thing I didn't mention is that since you've been at the Northampton County Council and your sort of committed work to building and developing sort of content, you're an award winner, I was told.
Yep.
So tell us about this.
This was an Entrepreneur of the Year Awards.
Okay.
So this was for starting Digital Northampton.
Okay.
So fair play to David. He warmed up his writing skills with his book, and he wrote the actual award nomination for me.
He's a good colleague, isn't he?
He is good.
Did you have to pay him for that, or?
No, I didn't even know he was doing it. He is very good.
Just noticed the brown envelopes eventually and thought, I need to do something about this.
Yeah.
He's warm-hearted like that.
I'm not getting the royalties on the book, so I want to start getting Richard to pay me some extra cash.
So it was good, obviously good PR for me. My dad was really impressed. He's told our whole family about it. Nothing else I've ever done he told anybody, but winning this award, he was all over it, because we had to go to Westminster to pick it up. But it was good PR for Digital Northampton as well. Lord Bird was down there. He won an award for his social echo and enterprise work. So when we were actually at Westminster to pick the award up, we were told, just pick the award up, nice and quick, take a picture, sit back down. Lord Bird talked for 25 minutes for his award, but he was brilliant. It was really funny.
Yeah.
That was the highlight.
Brilliant talker, and very inspiring.
Yeah, but no, really pleased with it. Yeah, it's great recognition really for the whole Digital Northampton work. We're the enabler for it, but all the kind of digital enterprise and innovation that's going on across the county, that's kind of recognition for that.
So Digital Northampton. So I found you guys online. So social media is clearly working, and that's in part because Kirsty Simmons at EMW, who I'm good friends with, and her firm, my firm, which is Longhurst, which we work together. I know that she'd been along to some of the events. What is Digital Northampton? So for everyone listening to this, especially those that are part of Silverstone Park or Silverstone Technology Cluster, what is it? Why does it exist? Who are you serving, and sort of where are you based, and what's the sort of geographic net that you cover? So let's start with what is it? So what is Digital Northampton?
So it's a collaboration between the County Council, the University of Northampton, and local digital businesses. So we've kind of all got together to promote the county as a place for doing digital business and to talk about what's going on locally. So we came from it on the council side. Again, Lord Bird, he launched his social echo in Northampton at Christmas, which is all about localism. Local businesses, small and big, working together. Big companies using local companies, creating a local digital supply chain. That really inspired myself and David, that localism between Northampton people. We want to see the town doing well. So on the back of that, we'd already been talking to local digital businesses for years, so we've always been keen to promote that angle anyway. We've used local companies to build the council's website over the years, and it's fantastic to use local business because we're their kind of blue chip client because we are so big and we're local. The companies we use 10-15 minutes away from the town centre, so we can just kind of have a chat. Any problems, we can build that relationship up. So that was really key for us. The uni wanted to stop the brain drain from their IT and digital gaming courses. They've got some fantastic courses there to teach kids how to become gamers, art designers in games, coders. But as soon as they graduate, they just leave the town, the county, somewhere else. They want to go to Coventry or London, wherever. And the local digital businesses we talked to just wanted someone shouting about digital tech businesses and Northampton as a place to be, to start to put them on the map. Because obviously being here in Silverstone, we're known for Silverstone, motorsport, logistics, but we're not known for digital tech and innovation. And there's a lot going on in the town and the county. So we kind of all came together with the same aim of promoting the county for all of this sort of work.
And so who does Digital Northampton serve? So you're saying tech businesses, business owners, people, employees working in those businesses? So if people are listening to this thinking, should we become a member or attend an event? Who are you shouting out to?
Yeah, it comes back to what you were saying about the question you asked about what is it? Because it is a lot of different things to lots of different people.
Yeah.
And it tends to be that a disparate group of people will get something out of it, and that's largely through connecting with people that they hadn't heard of before, through the way we bring people together through events and networking, targeted networking, and then they collaborate, and you find out, we might not find out at the time, but then say 3 or 6 months later, you'll find out that there's been collaborative work that's gone on.
Because they've met at an event or read about somebody through one of your media.
Exactly, and you don't realise these connections aren't happening until you facilitate it, until you make it happen. I certainly, this is my sort of main learning from it, is that I assumed that all of these connections were happening, and unless someone is actually proactively doing something to make it happen, you can't always kind of assume. So I suppose everyone involved with it has got their own sort of specific interests. So Rich is really keen on the career pathway for schools. So we talk to schools about doing events and showcases,
competitions. Doing a competition next month at Wren School to go in and get them thinking about our next big event, Merge Futures, next year. So the kids are going to design a sort of storyboard for filming it, a film to promote, a promotional film, promo video. The kids will design it, build a social media campaign around that, and then we'll pick a winner on the day, and then we'll get that filmed for them. So there's no Hollywood budget for it. They've got to be realistic about what it will be, but we'll use the video they come up with to then promote that event next year. So that's kind of one thing, is to promote innovation and what we're doing in terms of schools, and then link those into the businesses, get their teachers and the careers advisors to come to our events to see these are the sort of jobs, companies that are out there, so they can feed that back into the kids.
And so geographically, so it's called Digital Northampton, but I'm presuming it's not just Northampton, and maybe not even just sort of South Northamptonshire. So where because we're sat here in Silverstone, so we're a little away from town centre. So what businesses, geographic locations, schools?
It's all county-wide. So we are small. You know, myself and David have probably got the most time to spend on it. The other guys in the committee that we've got, spend various times on it. There's only about 6 of us working on it. So we're not huge. It's not a full-time thing. We just started up. So it is the whole county, but because we're based in the town centre in Northampton, we've found like the cluster there. That's our main people that we've kind of met so far, close to where we are. But we've been out to anyone who connects with us, we'll always go out with them and meet them and talk to them. So we've met RS Components, been out there to Corby, obviously Wren Schools in Wellingborough. Silverdisc are a Google partner around search and SEO and online marketing there in Kettering, obviously coming here to South Northampton. So the whole county's in our remit. Northampton's, like I say, has got the cluster so far, but anyone who listens to this is in digital business. So when we talk digital, it's any digital business. So it could be robotics, VR, online marketing, SEO, e-commerce, any kind of digital sort of work that either it's a small company that's focused on it, or it's a big company that just has a small digital element. It's any of that we're looking for, and to promote innovation and stitch people together and connect people together.
Well, the good news with this pod is that it's listened to by the Silverstone Technology Cluster, which I think Pim said is sort of 108, 110 members now, and also Silverstone Park, which, as I said, has got 50, 100 plus businesses on site at least, as well as several thousand connected. So hopefully those listening to this will sort of connect, and we'll make sure in the show notes we put some hyperlinks to Digital Northampton plus any other links that you've got,
great,
including the book. The rest of the books, so we can try and get a few more royalties. Every penny counts. So, so we've covered off what it is, why it exists, who it serves, and where. Events. So I've seen, having looked at the website, and Kirsty's, as I said, at EMW's provided some really useful feedback. So you've had some previous events. So, what events have you run, and have they been successful?
Yep, so we started around January, so every month we'll run an early bird event. We host that at the County Council, so it's 8 till 9 if you can get it for that time. We usually get around 30 or 40 people come to that, and that's a mix of businesses, public sector, private sector, schools, anyone can come to that. The most recent one we did, so we'll showcase local businesses. They'll come and talk about the tech they're working in, what work they do, case studies. So it's a knowledge sharing for people if they're interested in new technology, innovation, and it's also a great networking kind of space and time as well. So the last one we did was VR Therapist. This is one of the favourite little stories that we've got. It's Rebecca Gill. So she used to work in the NHS as a therapist. She had a frustration there that the new technology wasn't available to her to help patients and things like that. So she's started her own business. She's just getting premises in Northampton at the minute, getting developed on St Giles Street, and she is about it's VR headsets basically. So it's VR technology that you can use to help support disabled people seeing different sort of augmented reality in these screens. So she's building these premises that's going to have hydrotherapy pools. You put the headset on and she's getting content made which simulates swimming with dolphins. So your disabled people then can, if they've got it on their bucket list to say go and swim with dolphins, they can't go and do that. They can simulate it in her business. So she's got lots of different examples of that, of different content and different dreams that she brings to life for people with disabilities, learning disabilities. But she's so enthusiastic. She comes to our event. She's made loads of connections with people. She's open to everything in terms of people helping her. One of the guys does the ruggable hand devices, so that's useful for getting wet in these pools. Someone locally then's building the VR content for her. She's just made loads of connections at what we're doing. So she was kind of based Milton Keynes-ish, but because of the network that she's made through Digital Northampton, she's decided to base herself. One of the reasons really is that network supporting her in Northampton. So that's a great success story for us because we want to support startup companies to stay in Northampton, come to Northampton to start with, and then stay there and develop. So that's one story. We've had events around virtual reality in the future of retail, Internet of Things, and the well-being in buildings. So when you have all the sensors in buildings and it starts to collect data around movement, CO2, oxygen levels, that kind of thing. And then future events, we've got Silverdisc coming, like I say, a Google partner, talking about marketing, online sales, that kind of thing, driving traffic to your website, all the new modern techniques that you should be using. So we've got things planned up until June, and then June we've got our big event that we had this year and we'll have next year. It's called Merge Futures. That was at the university, so it was a whole day event which basically brings together everyone we've met throughout the year. It showcases all this new tech, the VR headsets, demonstrations. We have people at the university talking about the courses that they've got and how they're using new technology. Businesses doing exhibition stands there about what their tech they're doing. So it's a great day of promoting Northamptonshire for all the digital innovation that's going on. Loads of connections take place. So that happened last year in June, and it will take place on June the 12th at the uni next year as well.
So what would be good? My brain's sort of whirling at the moment. So I'm thinking actually there'll be clearly a number of businesses that you're working with, including this lady's, that just sounds absolutely beautiful. And I've got some connection with sort of riding for disabled and a number of other sort of permutations from there. So I'd love to have her on the pod. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, she'd be fantastic.
She'd be really good.
But actually also clearly a number of other members that you've got to talk about what they're doing. This podcast called Inside Silverstone, but in reality we are speaking to people that are connected to or involved in tech, innovation, high growth, whether they're leading the business or they work in it or they're a professional advisor servicing them in and around the county. So yeah, there might clearly some crossover there. So I'll make sure I come to the next event and also talk to Kirsty about that.
We call it Merge Futures because basically it doesn't matter what sort of sector you're working in now. I mean, it's like it is now, but in the future, definitely, there's going to be some sort of tech or innovative digital part of that job. So in the healthcare side with the uni, they would demonstrate in their nursing courses. They have all the VR headsets there to simulate people who are ill, different diseases or illnesses that you know, unless you go to the hospital and see it, you know, you can't actually see it for yourself there. So there was loads of things like that, and they were using the same things as mainstream businesses are using. So all those sort of connections and seeing things in different sectors kind of added up and added a lot of value to people.
So talk to us about sort of membership or sort of directory. So I've had a look at the website, and there's a directory, and there's probably 24 companies on there at the moment. I think they've probably been listed, but presumably there's
45,
more.
I think. A bit more than that.
Apologies, it was a very quick flick through. I maybe clicked on 4 or 5 categories and then saw Nova Croft with Deborah Charles. So how can somebody sort of become part of Digital Northampton? So if I run a business that's involved in tech and I want to get involved and also promote it, is there an application process? Is there a cost? What's the sort of situation there?
There's no sort of membership as such, but we've talked about this a fair bit, because obviously when you start something like this off, you don't really know what shape it's going to take for quite a while. And it started to become more of a movement as opposed to an organisation. So although we do a lot of facilitating, the idea is really that people can pick it up and run with it. So they can tag us into things on social media that they're doing, and by us sharing it, it does build up this genuine idea that stuff is happening in Northamptonshire. So in terms of a membership, there's no fee, there's no sort of, you don't get anything back. It's just becoming a part of it, I guess.
All the events are free, aren't they?
Yeah.
So anyone can come along to the events, just book on through Eventbrite. We advertise it on Twitter. The whole thing is based on social media. That's how we built the platform. So the benefit we've had with David, he runs the social media channel. So that's LinkedIn at Digi Northampton, and Twitter and LinkedIn. With him being a writer, the content's brilliant. The social media content and output is brilliant, and it's not just for geeks. He covers lots of things on there, and there's a softer side to it. It's about promoting other Northampton businesses as well that are going on. So the whole network has been based on there, and I think that's where the surprising element to it has come from. Lots of different people in the community. There's something on a Thursday night called Northants Hour, which lots of local businesses tap into and start promoting what they're doing. We join in on that kind of thing. So we've built a wider based community than we ever thought. We thought it would just be tech and geeks at the beginning, and it hasn't. It's gone much wider than that. So it's about building that wider community. They spread the word, and then they kind of come to our events, and they then get the benefit of what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's one of my passions for it, is that a lot of the high-tech stuff I won't understand. And you might think, that makes me the wrong person to be involved in this. But actually, I find it really interesting to try and translate the kind of innovative work that's going on in a way that
anyone will understand.
In the way that if I'd been on the other side of it and just reading about it, I need to be able to understand it. So with some of the stuff, that is a real challenge. With some of the VR stuff, you can experience it. Whereas if you're talking about something like Internet of Things, it's almost like a concept that you need to find the right language to explain it. So I think that is one of the big challenges, because going back to that theme of merged futures and people from different sectors getting involved, all sorts of opportunities open up if you start talking to other people outside of your sort of sphere of influence about the kind of possibilities, particularly if you make it sort of locality based. So by holding events in Northampton and engaging with Northamptonshire businesses, the idea is that we grow Northamptonshire as a whole. It's not one or two individual businesses that we're looking to kind of skyrocket. The idea is that each one of the events, or through connections made by email or by looking at the directory on the website, someone will see something that will spark off an idea, and they could be from any background. Because that's, again, going back to Rebecca, although she's got an interest in technology, she's not a techie person. She doesn't kind of create the content herself for use on the VR headsets, but she's got the overall vision, and she's had this sort of healthcare background.
It's an enabler, isn't it, for what she wants to do?
Yeah. So it's really bringing that closer to everyday kind of people, and trying to translate the tech for them.
So, Richard, you mentioned something earlier which was interesting. So, local digital supply chain. So, presumably there are challenges and issues there regionally and locally?
Yeah, I guess, we've only been doing this 9 months, so we don't know what we don't know. But we want to get into big businesses and put these smaller companies in front of them so they know what is local and on their doorstep. So
what's a big business locally?
So the Carlsbergs, Barclaycard, Avons, Travis Perkins, RS Components, those kind of people. RS Components are going to be one of the speakers at one of our events, so that's great. That'll give them a chance to connect with lots of other businesses there. But if we could get in with those other businesses and just have a chat about what their supply chains look like now. Do they use local companies? What sort of innovative work are they doing? Will they become a presenter at some of the things that we do? Just really to put local digital tech companies on the map for them. So rather than thinking I've got to go to London or Manchester or Birmingham, there is local here. And that's the whole point of the business directory we're building, is they can have a look at that, see the sort of businesses that are there, connect with them, and start using local, and get that local supply chain.
And presumably to overcome that challenge or that hurdle, that's just a combination of door knocking, phone calls, introductions through other trusted partners into the right people, into the decision makers.
Yeah, we've got a great contact with Barclaycard. So at one of our events, Stafford Sharp Associates, they're a tech recruitment firm. They've been great backers from the very beginning, thought this was a really good idea. They came to Merge Futures, they made a contact there with the Barclaycard tech recruiter guy, and they got some work through that. They then connected us up with him. He came to one of our events, and you think, brilliant, we've got a great in now. And the next week he left and went somewhere else. And you're like, bloody hell, you've got to start all over again now. So there's lots of things like that go on, and we've got to build up those networks so it goes a bit deeper than just one person.
That sometimes happens. I've got connections at Barclays in a number of different geographic regions, and you'll be working with people in like a year or 2 years later, they'll then retire or move on to another department. It's like, shit, really? I've got to literally reset and go again. But
we're doing this competition with the Wren School, and we met this lady there, their careers advisor at the school, and she was really passionate about it and wanted us to come in and do this competition with the kids. And I said, you're not going to leave, are you, after just the Barclaycard one? She went, no, of course not. As soon as we set this up, we get an email from her saying she's leaving to go somewhere else. We're like, so we're still doing that one, but we've got to meet somebody else there. So we've got to really build those connections elsewhere. And Barclaycard, we've had a tour around there. That is pretty much a 2,000 person tech hub, finance tech hub in Bracknell. So they were keen again to have links into the university to start trying to look at the courses that they've got around IT and programming, and can they influence those courses? So they're teaching those students the sort of skills that they want at Barclaycard. Can they get work placements there? Have that strong link in. So it becomes a supply chain from the uni to Barclaycard. So that's a great example of those pathways that we're trying to support and enable.
And so you've touched on it there, and you also touched on it sort of 10 minutes or so ago. So clearly the next generation is critical for all our local businesses, tech or otherwise, but certainly in tech. So how do we sort of overcome those challenges to make sure that education path is correct, that connecting the dots between education through to work placements, through to future careers happens, and how are you guys hoping to sort of help enable that?
Yeah, I think it's tricky. We've started to make some good contacts with SEMLEP and what they do in terms of careers and schools. So we've been to a couple of their meetings where they get lots of these careers advisors in, and they've just released the report around future skills that are needed and future jobs. And I think that scared a lot of the schools, because it basically said all of these jobs are going to be redundant in a few years, and you're going to need all these, talking about AI and all these different technologies. So it's how I don't think you're going to be teaching kids in school how to program AI. I'm not sure we're going to go to that sort of level. But it's opened up the conversations with the schools, the careers advisors, and local businesses. We went to the university yesterday. They'd got a careers day on, and Sean Turo was there, Turo Interactive. He's one of the companies that we've met through this. He develops apps and things like that. He's really into it. Every event we put on and connections, he wants these up for everything. So he went along to that event, and he's promoting his business. He's looking for placements. He's looking for the next generation of programmers, because that's what will stop business startups becoming scale-ups and bigger, is having the skill sets and the new people to do it. So he's really keen to get new people in. So he was at the university there telling all the kids this is what he does, getting work placements lined up. He was at the NSB the week before that, Northampton School for Boys at their careers day, promoting what he does there. So I think it's things like that, and we've played a part as the middleman, connecting those two up, going to visit the school, bringing Sean in. So that we're the enabler. A big thing for Digital Northampton is enabling, going and meeting people. It's putting the miles on the ground to go to the school, find out what their issues are, go to Semlet, go to the businesses, and then stitch that together. So by him going in there to the NSB, he's made contacts there. He met lots of businesses there as well, but he puts his business and those careers that he does programming into the minds of the kids at those schools, so they know there's a possibility locally.
That's what needs to happen, isn't it? So the students just need to be told that these sort of jobs and careers exist.
Yeah, and I think the way emerging technologies are at the moment, the emphasis will be on kids learning to be creative and to think creatively rather than learning specific skills a lot of the time, because it's moving at a pace where the skills that they learn now could be useless in a few years' time. So it's having that wider creative skill set to be able to apply whatever they learn technology-wise in the best possible way. And one of the things that we're doing as well, in terms of the next generation, is looking to inspire girls and young women into tech and to show positive local female role models in the tech industry, because as part of the meetings that we've been having, we don't see a huge amount of women, certainly at the higher levels of tech companies in Northamptonshire. Now, there are a few great examples, but on the whole, that's the feeling we get, that there isn't that representation that you might get in some of the bigger cities, and that's a really positive challenge for us to try and change that. So we've started to get together a working group of women that we've met working in tech who are really passionate about changing that landscape. It's still early days as to how we take that forward, but there's loads of good ideas about it, and it's certainly something that we're passionate about improving.
And that includes Dolores Sanders from Total Control Pro.
Exactly, yeah. So she was one of the sort of chief speakers at the initial meeting that we had, kicking off that working group. Had loads of passionate ideas about it. I'd sort of put together an initial idea to get people talking, and there were aspects of that she tore to shreds, which was fantastic, because it wasn't there for me to sort of say what I thought was wrong. She's there, she's been there and done it, and it's for her to really kind of inspire that next generation with the sort of challenges that girls and young women face to get into an industry that's dominated by men.
Well, clearly good luck with that. And I saw that picture and promotion of Dolores and some of the ladies after that meeting on Twitter. And so I've already said to you guys, look, we'll do a mastermind session and we'll get Dolores and some of the ladies along and talking about the challenges faced and basically how that can be overcome and how everyone can sort of collaborate moving forward. So look forward to that. So you mentioned something also earlier, Richard, about trying to enhance and create a sort of tech hub in the town centre of Northampton. So we're currently sat in Silverstone Park, which has the Silverstone Technology Cluster, which has 100 plus members, including my business Longhurst. So presumably the idea is to sort of replicate or build something similar to that geographically in the town centre of Northampton, so that certainly when you are connecting with bigger companies, you can say, look, here we are a community, we all work together, we meet, we support each other, and we can support you.
Yeah, originally when we conceived the whole Digital Northampton concept, it started off as being about the hub, and that was building an innovative building, filling it with companies, all the things we've talked about. But it was just too big a thing to do at the beginning, and it would need money to do it. So that's why we started off with social media, we started off with the events, built that whole community up and started shouting about what we're doing for free. And now we've got that community, we're a lobbying group to talk about that hub now. And we've flushed out what are a lot of these local local companies. So at the minute, the Borough Council are building the Vulcan Works in the town centre. So that's going to be about a 70-unit creative hub, and it's going to look, really smart the minute that's being spent on it. So as a lobby group, we're lobbying them to say, could it be a digital creative hub? So we could start to really focus on digital companies being in there. And with town centres really struggling, if we can start to give the town centre a different face and have innovative tech companies moving into the town centres, it gives the town centres another face. It gives it a more footfall, gives it another reason to be there. And for us, it gives us a cluster to go and visit people, to promote it. And just like you've got at Silverstone here, it gives it a name, a brand, puts something on the map. The lots of companies that we've met are just scattered everywhere. So, and that's fine. That's why we're knitting and stitching it all together virtually. But if they're all in one place, that collaboration that would take place a lot more easily, and we could put events on there, I think it would really supercharge what we're trying to do. And putting it right in the town centre, like I say, would be brilliant for Northampton to give it, another feature.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we'll connect you to Ros Bird, who sort of heads up Silverstone Park and is the chair of the Silverstone Technology Cluster. And so she would be a great resource and someone to talk to about that, brilliant. And also a good advocate. There will definitely be some crossover collaborative work that our community can do with your community and vice versa. So all good. Right, guys, we are 34 minutes into this podcast. Hasn't that gone quickly? Smiles and grimaces on your face. So before I get on to the last couple of questions, is there anything that you guys want to talk about that I haven't asked that sort of shot you in mind and thought, I need to sort of mention that or say anything? Or have we covered it all off?
That's a good question. Is there anything on your notes that you meticulously prepared?
Yeah, it's an impressive set of notes there.
Yeah, people always think I'm just looking at Twitter or something like that, but they are notes that I've got on my
you've come prepared. So,
on my phone.
So is there anything else that you guys, whilst we've got you on air, look, you've got your community listening to this, hopefully we've got our community listening to this.
I think we want people to keep reaching out to us. Anyone who contacts us or connects with us, we always get back in touch with them and we'll go and visit them. So anyone who's out there, who's working in tech, who's one of these big companies out there who's interested in it, give us a shout and we'll come and talk about what we're doing. I think that is that's the major message. We're always looking for presenters. So if you've got, when we do the big event next year, Merge Futures, we want to be able to present a whole showcase of innovation that's going on. So if you're working on something you think is really innovative, different VR, whatever it is, AI, let us know. And if you've got something active, put it out on Twitter. We'll start following you and we'll retweet that to all our followers. So it's just about connecting with us.
Okay. Embarrassing mistakes. We like asking embarrassing stories and sharing embarrassing stories because, look, it humanises everybody, right? So, is there anything in your locker, David and Richard's locker, not necessarily Digital Northampton or indeed Northampton County Council, I'm sure there are lots, anything at all you can share, whether it's a fairground story or otherwise, that we can sort of laugh at with you?
Yeah, well, I can think of one off
Go on.
off
I'm
the
going to think
top
of
my
30.
head.
Okay, we haven't got time for 30, but we can pick out one or two. So shoot.
It's difficult to go into specifics, but I was working on a high-profile project to basically communicate about a financial decision, and we had a high-profile figure doing a piece to video. So it was all shot on the camera and uploaded to YouTube, and just the final bit of it really was to add it to the website. So all of that went smoothly, added it to the website. 5 minutes later, had a call from their PA saying, why has Colonel Gaddafi come up on our website?
That's a good question. Why has Colonel Gaddafi come up on the website?
I haven't heard this story.
So obviously there's a little tick box when you upload something to YouTube where it says, do you want to show suggested videos after this? And I just forgotten to untick it. And so this high profile figure had played out his footage, and I think
immediately afterwards.
Possibly within 2 or 3 videos, YouTube had automatically kind of spun it this way round to Colonel Gaddafi barking his orders at somebody with obviously our branding all over the sides of it. So
powerful lesson learned there to make sure you tick or untick a box.
Exactly. Quick fix, but embarrassing phone call to receive.
Richard. Tell us one of your 30.
I think in the early days when we set up the digital team, we had this guy, I won't say his name, this guy in our team, and he was a bit of a wild card. And I don't think I was in the office on this date, but he took a photo of the then leader of the council and mocked him up as the Joker from Batman. Okay. And then that's one thing. And for whatever reason, he uploaded it onto the website.
You're joking?
No. And he put it on a page, he hid it in a page somewhere, and the Chronicle and Echo found it and printed it in the paper.
Oh my God.
And
how long ago was this?
This was about 15 years ago.
And presumably the chap didn't really respond particularly well when he saw this.
Well, I think everyone had a sense of humour about it. I think if it happened now, I don't think he would survive now. But he did. It wasn't long after that. I think he was promoted. Not by me, but he got promoted. Though.
Great story. We've got Colonel Gaddafi and the Joker. So I wasn't expecting that. Right, guys, we're going to start bringing this to a close. So very last question we ask, in part because we have a number of students listening to this from a number of different sort of colleges and schools and sixth forms locally. So life advice. So clearly you're both masters in your field. Lifers at the county council, pretty much, but clearly from a digital perspective, you know what you're talking about. If you were to take yourselves back to when you're sort of 16, 18, early doors before you got into your career, what bit of advice, what one bit of life coaching would you give a younger version of yourself?
Yeah, I think around careers, I don't remember when I was at school or uni. I mean, I never really thought about career path, but I don't remember any career days or advice days, things like that. I don't remember that kind of thing existing. And I think now there are so many resources out there. Take advantage of them. Go to these career days, these career fair days. I remember at uni, we went to Wembley Arena one day. And it was a tech event there. This is about 20 years ago. And it was all events on special effects in films, all sorts of things. And it really inspired me. I did my final year project on special effects in films. And it was a brilliant day. So I think get yourself out there, see these career days, and just see all the different types of careers that are out there. There are thousands. And just see what inspires you and make sure you get into a job that you really like. Because there are jobs out there that you're going to like. So don't just settle for something. Find something that you really enjoy doing.
Don't settle. Find something you're good at and you enjoy doing.
I think I'd add to that. Don't assume that someone's already doing something. If it's something you're passionate about and that you've got a skill and a talent for, then go and try and do it yourself. Because even if someone is already doing that thing, you might end up doing it better than them, or you might end up working with them, or there's all sorts of opportunities. And the other thing I think, especially for youngsters these days, which makes me sound about 100, is that social media is something, and tech generally is something that you have to switch off from. So certainly with managing the social media channels, I try to separate it out as much as possible so that in the evenings and weekends, I switch off from it so that I can concentrate better on it when I am doing the work. And I think that there are a lot of blurred lines between personal and business social media accounts, and certainly for young people that can throw up all sorts of issues. So yeah, learn about the kind of the image that you want to put across on all the different channels that you have, and make sure that you can back that up. If someone comes to you and says, why were you talking about this particular thing on this particular channel? Be really clear about the message that you're sort of sending to whatever audience you've got.
And also from time to time to switch the whole thing off.
Exactly.
And engage in real human contact and nature and fresh air and real life shit, as opposed to just stuff that's on social media.
Yeah, and you can do that even within your role. So like Richard was saying earlier, a lot of what we do isn't tech related because it's about building positive links with the community. And even if that means going to a local cafe, independent retailers, shouting about a positive experience that you've had in the town. It's all about being positive and proactive, and that doesn't all have to happen online.
And I think that's what we found with this, is that there's probably people talking out there and they've created this whole network themselves. And the positivity that's coming, we started it as the spark, but the whole network out there now, they are taking it on and talking positively. So, once you start talking positively, people will spread that sort of word. People want to be positive, I think, and have something to be positive about.
Sure. David, Richard, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us all about Digital Northampton. Looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the future. Certainly looking forward to sort of connecting the dots with certainly our business community over here at Silverstone. I'll make sure I connect the dots with Ros Bird and get myself along to some of the events and vice versa. If we can get some potential introductions to some of your members to get them on the show, I think that'd just be epic. Just some nice cross-fertilisation of businesses and business owners.
Definitely.
That would be good. So thank you for coming on the show.
Great, thanks for your time.
Yeah, brilliant.
The Inside Silverstone podcast is produced by the team at Longhurst for the benefit of those with a passion for all things tech, engineering and innovation. For more information, please visit longhurst.co.uk/Inside Silverstone, whilst also remembering to give us a 5 out of 5 star rating on iTunes. Please note that neither Chris Broome or Longhurst work for Silverstone Park, Silverstone Circuit or Silverstone Technology Cluster.